Hi everyone, here's another video about the definition of the function. This time we're going to talk about the vertical line test. So there's a theorem in this book that says that an equation defines a function if any vertical line intersects the graph of the equation in at most one point. So there's kind of two important bits to this theorem. Is that we have any vertical line and in at most one point. So let's look at these kind of separately. So let's do an example of a function. So a good example is the some sort of parabola, and this is a function. Let's draw that parabola a little more nicely, a little more parabola-like. So let's use a different color here. So let's change this to red so it's nice to see. And so if we look at any vertical line that goes through in the XY plane, notice that it intersects in exactly one point and only one point. And it doesn't matter which vertical line we pick, it always is one point. But notice that the theorem says that it is at most one point. So it doesn't always have to intersect in one point. It could actually intersect in 0 points. And the square root function actually gives a good example of that. So let's look at that function. So example. And so here is our square root function. And if you're unfamiliar with these functions, we will be talking about them in a later section. And so let's again draw our red lines, and notice that over here we are intersecting in no points. And that's perfectly allowed because we're allowed to intersect at most one point. But once we hit x equals 0, then again we get the phenomenon just like with the square root function, that each vertical line hits exactly one time. So notice that the two components is we can choose any line, and any one of those lines has to intersect 0 times or 1 time. So let's look at a non-example, and a good one that's inspired from the last one. Let's look at a sideways parabola. So there's a good sideways parabola, and let's go back. So this is a non-example. And again, we draw with the red, and notice that over here, again, just like before, intersects in 0 points. On the x-axis, so I'm going to try to draw this in as best as I can, but the red and the black will make it kind of hard. Notice that here we intersect one time, but once we get past x equals 0, we're always finding two pairs of points. So here we're intersecting 2 times. So this is not a function. This is just a plain old relation. And there you have it. So as long as you can graph your equation, the vertical line test will tell you if it is a function or not. Now some things, especially when we get into relations, can get very difficult to graph, so it's hard to tell whether a given equation is a function or not. But for all our common functions, this is very simple. We just draw it. And we just see that a vertical line intersects exactly 1 time or 0 times. All right, we'll see you in the next video.